Hi everyone, my name is Alex, and I am sharing with you my journey of top surgery so far. I have been sharing some videos over the last 24 hours of my experiences of going to Turkey, where I was with NIDA's transgender surgery agency. Um, I was really skeptical about going to a different country. I am from England, I live in Bristol, but it was a real kind of anxious state of thinking, well, what am I putting myself into? What am I going to be? What am I going to face going to a different country and having top surgery? But it was the best experience and the best decision that I made for my journey through top surgery. Now, I know that many of you have reached out to me and asked for all the videos and been asking me questions, which is amazing. This is something that I very much encourage people to do, is reach out and ask questions, because the feeling of not really knowing what to expect and also being anxious about top surgery in general, but then to add on to go to a different country as well, it can be very anxiety inducing, especially if you are having top surgery, but also if you are a partner or a family member or somebody that is going to be going through this journey. Because even though, like, for me, it was my journey, it was also my family's, it was also my partner's and my friend's journey as well. So it's always really important that we're able to share each other's lived experiences and also find out as much information as we can. So I kind of wanted to record this video from like start to finish of my journey, because the videos that I've shown, they're like 1 minute snippets of day one, day two, the cannula process, the discharge process. But I also wanted to show and share with you, like, from start to finish, from my own experiences and from my, as you can see me as I'm telling you. So the first instance, when I found Nida through one of my friends that went to Turkey to have surgery at the same, well, not at the same time, but what had surgery with Nida before. So I started to do some stalking on Instagram and also was looking at the journeys that other people have been through and the results that people were getting as well, because you want to make sure that the results you have, you're going to be happy with them. So I did some stalking on Instagram, and then I reached out to Nida via Instagram and then through WhatsApp. I then played around with some dates. I sent some pictures of my previous chest to make sure that they were able to help me, which they were. They then shared with me the information around the costings and around the process of what would happen, leading up to surgery. So as to secure, because NIDA doesn't ask for a deposit because everything that you pay is in cash, that you, by securing your date and your time for surgery, that you book your flights and you book your accommodation, because that's something that doesn't come with you, that doesn't come in the pricing for your top surgery. So to secure those dates, it's flights and accommodation. Then NIDA sends you some documents to fill out, which is all around like your transfer. So when you're getting picked up, at what time that you land and where you're going to. And then also you get like your medical forms, so to make sure that they've got everything that you need, put like past medical, anything, if you're taking any medication, you fill those out, you send them back, and then NIDA's like, amazing, you're all booked in. One thing that I did for my own self that might help you is that I just checked in, because I booked like 12 months in advance. So I checked in like every couple of months just to make sure, are we still okay? Are we still doing okay? And every time Nida would come back and say, yeah, everything's okay, no problems, here you go. Where the day or the week, leading up to my surgery, I decided that I wanted to go 2 days prior to my surgery. And that was just like my own preference. I wanted to get there and settle in and be able to get to my apartment. I didn't end up staying in a hotel. I stayed in an Airbnb. So if you look in and around the spaces of the hospital, there are lots of really cool Airbnbs. And again, for my personal preference, I needed to make sure that I had a sofa, I had my own shower, I had plenty of space to move about, and also had cooking facilities as well. So if I didn't want to go out and get food, that me and my partner could make something, in our accommodation. And I got it for a really, really good price. So it's always good to check that out as well. But I also know that NIDA offers up deals and recommends hotels for you to use as well. And depending if what sort of budget that you're on, it might be that the hotel is the better option for you. But for me, and also being neurodivergent as well, I struggle with like quite high volume noises and lots of people and crowding. So it just kind of worked best for me. So I arrived 2 days prior to my surgery, where we did a 24-hour holiday. When we arrived at Istanbul airport, our transfer driver picked us up in a really plush and amazing like minibus. It was absolutely unbelievable. And the driver was so lovely and so reassuring. And he picked us up and took us straight to our Airbnb and dropped us off and make sure that we got there all right. The first, see, when I arrived there, it was like this mixture of emotions. It was like this crazy feeling of like, what am I doing? But also being like super excited and being like, oh my God, I can't believe like we've finally got here. Like with 12 months, we were talking about this 12 months ago and now we're finally here. And it was just like this surreal moment of like this, like it's actually happening. Like this is actually happening. So I needed those 2 days really to like settle in and settle those nerves. On the day of surgery, we got picked up at about 6:45 in the morning. We got picked up with our transfer driver again, who took us to the hospital. Now, the hospital was like walking into a hotel. It was unbelievable. It was so clean. It was so well looked after. I was greeted by one of the security guards who was so like warm and so like he just had like this big smile. And we were also met with the other team that were working with Vida and the translator, Mrs. S. And the translator, Mrs. S, was she was delicious. She was beautiful. And she was just super reassuring. And she took us over to the reception area where we signed like all the consent forms. And the consent forms being, you give consent to have the surgery, you give consent for anesthetic, some of the risks that come with having surgery, as with all surgeries that people have. And she just walks you through it and she gives you that time to just digest and read and ask questions if you need to ask questions. And then you sign you hand over your passport and as well, so they know who you are. That's all like recorded and stuff. And then you will also be able to meet, if there are other people on your day who are having surgery. There was 2 other people on my day because during the day there is 3 surgeries that take place. And Dr. Sirkin, who is the main surgeon that I saw, his wife also does the surgery so that they can fit those 3 surgeries in one day. And one of you is taken down in the morning, one of you is taken down like mid-morning to the afternoon, and then one's taken down like late afternoon. So if you ever get a text it all says the same time, don't panic. It just means that you are all checked in and admitted to the hospital at that same time. Because that's something that I was panicking about, because I started to have conversations with the other people that were having surgery in my same day. And I was like, oh, I really hope that we haven't like double booked. So yeah, there's 3 people. So you all wait and then you're all taken up to the ward. And on the ward, there is about 7 bedrooms and that's it. And that ward is pretty much safeguarded for every single person that is having top surgery. And you're taken into your room, and the room literally, again, is like a hotel room. You've got a proper door, you've got your own bathroom, you've got your own bed. There is also a futon there because your partner or whoever is going with you can stay with you with your one night in hospital. And it's just an incredible, like, I'm going to be sharing another video of the hospital and the hospital rooms, so you'll be able to see that. But it was like super clean and like proper well looked after. And it had like a wardrobe, you can hang your stuff up and all that sort of stuff. There is also Wi-Fi at the hospital, even though it like dips in and out, but you can still get like a pretty good signal. And then you kind of go through your like your pre-op process. Now, I wasn't aware of the pre-op process. Like, they don't really tell you what the pre-op process is. And this was a conversation that I had with Nida about it, and said, this is why we want to create these videos so people are aware of what happens. But as soon as you are admitted into the hospital, you're pretty much in your room for about 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. And then once you are in your room, the nurse will come in with the translator and you will have your cannula put in. I've already put a video on my playlist here that you can also watch around what a cannula is and how and what they do with it, basically. And it's a needle that goes into your hand so that they can intravenously put paracetamol, steroids, or any form of medication that you need, and it's going directly into your bloodstream and going directly in, instead of taking tablets and all that sort of stuff. And it's also as well for when you have your anesthetic, and when you have like your sedative that goes in for when you go into surgery. So that's the first thing that they do. I'm really scared of needles, so I was a little bit anxious and a little bit scared about having it done. But once it's in, it's in. It's a little bit uncomfortable in your hand because you can kind of feel it there. But once it's in, and then they can just keep coming in and hooking you up and making sure you've got everything that you need medical wise. Once you've had your cannula put in, then you're taken down, you have your ECG, which is like the little stickers that get put all over your body and goes on your chest, on your legs, on your back, I think, if I remember. And they just get stuck all over. And it takes like a reading of your heart, and it takes a reading of, like the little squiggly things. I'm no medic, but it takes like a squiggly reading just to make sure that everything's all right, just to make sure you're okay. And they prints out a little piece of paper that shows these little cool squiggly lines. After you've had your ECG, then you're taken for your ultrasound, and you all go together. So you're taken down into the lift with one of the nurses that tends to be like during the day, called Big Mama. And Big Mama is amazing. She gives you lots of reassurance, lots of cuddles, lots of love, and she takes you down into where the ECG bit is. Where the ultrasound is, and you have an ultrasound on your chest. Now, again, just something for you to be aware of if you're having surgery. It is a very intrusive like part of the surgery. You've got to take your top off. You can't wear a vest or a sports bra or a binder or tape. Like, you've got to take everything off. So just for you to kind of prep yourself for that, because that's something that I didn't prep myself for. And then they put like this gel onto like a little wand thing, and they just run them over like where the breast tissue is, just to check that there's no lumps, just to check that there's no problems or issues going on. And then once that's done, then you're taken back up into your room, where the anaesthetist consultant will come in. And the anaesthetist is the person that is in the surgery with you, who basically watches you breathe and watches all of your ratings and your heart rate, your breathing, and make sure that you are okay. That is their job, to basically watch you during the surgery and make sure that you are okay. So, for instance, when my anaesthetist came in to check that I was all right, they were going over my medical records, and because I've got asthma, they said before I could go for surgery, I had to have some steroids. And the steroids were put, again, into my cannula, just to make sure that my breathing, my airways were open up, and I was going to be breathing as normally as possible during the surgery. So they come in, they check on you. Again, absolutely lovely, beautiful. The translator's there holding you through that experience and making sure that you're all right. And then once that is, then you have your surgeon consultant session, where you meet Dr. Sirkin, and he basically draws lines on you. So again, it's another bit of an intimate moment of time where you go into the surgeon's room. They will ask you to take like your t-shirt off, your binder, whatever you've got on underneath. You need to take that off, and then that's when the surgeon will draw up on you, and will literally take a pen to your chest and draw up where everything will fall. So, for example, it will mark up where your nipples are and where they will be after surgery, and it's just like they draw a bit of like knots and crosses on your chest. They'll take some pictures as well, and that's just for record of what they are doing. You know, it's nothing that they will send or share, you know, via social media or marketing or whatever. It's just for their records to make sure that they're doing everything by the book, and they're making sure that they're safeguarding and doing the surgery as best as they can and will do. Um, so from there, then you have a conversation where you will exchange money, and it is all in English pounds. So you will exchange money. Obviously, the surgeon will know exactly what package, what deal that you're on. You will exchange money. They'll just say, "Excellent, okay, perfect. How are you feeling?" You'll have a bit of a conversation about how you're feeling, and then that's when you are able to go back to your room, where you will wait then to be called of when you're going to have surgery, either the first, second, or third. Once you are into your room, it could be a couple of hours before you are taken to surgery. One thing as well, what you are not allowed to do is you are not allowed to eat past 10 o'clock the previous night. So even if you are the last person to go for surgery, which was me, you're not allowed to eat or drink anything. So what they do is if you are going later on in the day, they will come and give you some fluids, give you some vitamins through your cannula to make sure that you're strong and that you've got all of the nutrition in your system, you know, through fluid, that everything that you need before you go and have surgery. When you're taken into surgery, you will have to put on the beautiful gown that you'll probably see in one of my videos and the really nice hat. You've got to take off, if you've got any piercings or any jewelry or anything, you need to, you know, take them out and put them somewhere safe. When I had surgery, I have like a little band here. And it was, so this band is connected to my partner and my kids. And I didn't want to take it off, wanted to keep it on me. So they allowed me to put it on my ankle because it doesn't have any metal in it. So I was allowed to put it on my ankle, but everything else I had to take off. You're then given some absolutely beautiful theatre socks. And that is to stop any blood clots like gathering in your legs. And you have to keep those on for your duration before you go to surgery and after you come out of surgery and the following day until you are discharged. You have to keep those socks on. Again, it is a safety precaution, so there are no blood clots or anything that is, you know, going on or could potentially be going on, you know, in your legs and all that sort of stuff. Once that's happened, then they come and they will be like, right, we're ready for you. You will be put onto a theatre bed, and that's where, like, whoever is coming with you, that's where you'll say goodbye and, you know, giving thumbs up. One thing that my partner did when we left, because it's an emotional moment. It was an emotional moment for me. You know, I was crying, I was so sad, and it was so sad because it's such a scary experience. It's such an experience where you think, shit, what the hell is going to happen here? But knowing, like, in your heart where, like, why you are there. So what my partner did is we all made friends with the other people that were having surgery, and my partner and another person's partner, they went and had something to eat. And it's like that reassurance because you're going through the same experience, you're living that same experience, and it's about having that connection. So I would very much encourage that whoever is having the surgery on the same day as, you know, the person that you're going with, make those connections, reach out, you know, have that support there, because that's so needed for you, not just for the person that's having surgery. And then when you're taken down to theatre, then again, they make sure everything's all right. They check that you're all right. One of the nurses gave me the biggest hug ever and was like, just take some deep breaths. And then that's when you're given your sedative, which sends you to sleep. Now, once that sedative went in, I genuinely felt like I was asleep for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then I woke up and the nurse was like, Alex, are you okay? Alex, can you hear me? Alex, are you okay? And I thought I'd passed out. And the nurse, and like, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go and have surgery. And she was like, no, like, surgery's finished, all done. And I just remember like putting my hands on my binder and was like, oh my goodness, that's it. It's done. When you come around after surgery, you might feel feel some feelings. Again, I was crying, I was laughing, like it was like this complete like roller coaster of emotions because I was just like coming down from this high of this of the anesthetic as well. That's something to be prepared for. You might not feel 100% yourself, but it's about rest and recuperation. They'll take you back up to your room. They help you transfer back onto your bed, and I literally had a big sleep. Had a big sleep, had some paracetamol, which again they put through my cannula, and just had a big snooze. Once you are able to have like an hour or a couple of hours rest, then what they tend to do is want you to get up out of your bed and start to move around. Now, that needs to be taken at your own pace. And if you say to the nurses, stop, I'm not ready, they will respect that and they will just give you some time and space to come back around. But when you do that walk, and again, there's another video on here, when you do that walk, it will feel very strange because your balance will be off. You're also very swollen around here on the sides. You will have a compression binder on with the dressings underneath, but it feels strange. And you've also got the drains with you as well. So it's just about taking your time on that first walk. If you can only manage like 3 or 4 steps before you start getting a bit dizzy, maybe start to feel a bit sick, take yourself back to bed, rest some more, and drinking. And once the nurses and the doctors say you can, make sure you're drinking as much water and taking on as much fluid as you can. It took me a while before starting to move around. Took me a good couple of hours. But then that's kind of the end of like day one, really. You stay in in the hospital. You can stay with whoever's there with you. Make sure you take snacks. Make sure you have food. The hospital that I was at, downstairs, like to the right hand side, I think it was, past the pharmacy, there was like a pizza place that my partner went to. And got us some pizzas. And that kind of kept us going for a bit. But the hospital do bring food round. They bring food for you and also bring them for the person that you're with. They make sure that you've got a blanket and a pillow for when you're staying over. But yeah, that's like the end of day one. And then you just kind of have a really big sleep. Download some things on a tablet onto a phone, have things to watch, still trying to getting up and moving. But then the next day then is when you need to start getting up and again moving around. You'll see in one of the videos that me and my partner had like a drinking station. So on the ward is like a big corridor, and you're able to kind of walk up and down that corridor. And again, the other people that I was having when I'd had surgery the same time as me, we were all doing it together. It was all a bit of like morale and keeping each other accountable for it. But we'd walk down, walk back up, have a drink, walk down, walk back up. And we just kept doing that and like having little rests or getting back in bed. So what I was doing was I was walking, doing like 3 or 4 lengths, having some water, getting back in bed, having like a 15 to 20 minute nap, and then getting back up. Pardon me. And the reason that you've got to do that is because your drains that you've got, you have 2 drains. If you have keyhole, then the drains come a bit further forward, I think. But if you're having a double incision like I did, the drains come like round about here, I think, round about there. And you have 2 drains on either side. And the reason that they want you to get up like almost immediately after you've had surgery is because your drains, like on your chest, is a buildup of fluid, and they want you to get that fluid moving. So it pumps out of the drains, and then your drains, then as the day go on, should run clear. So it shouldn't be like really thick red. It should be like this clear, like white, like gunky kind of look. It's not a very nice look, I'll be honest. But it needs to run clear. So the more that you move and the more that you drink, the quicker it is for you to get those drains active. And throughout the day, again, through that cannula, they'll come in. If you need pain relief, they will give you pain relief. Whatever you need, they will give you. If at any point, like your drain slips, or sometimes like the drain might come out, like the tube might come out, or there might be like a small little tear, they will come in. They will clean it. They put the dressings back on. They will sort the drains to go back in, and then they will make sure that you are safe and comfortable, or as comfortable as you can. That kind of happens throughout the day. And we ended up being discharged at around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So about 24 hours after surgery. And through the discharge process, you have your drains taken out. I was so scared to have my drains taken out because I thought it was going to really hurt, because it's like the pulling a tube out of your side. But because of the swelling and because of the numbness, you don't feel it whatsoever. Like, they just come out. It just, there's only like a very, very small feeling of like a pinch, and then that's it. And then it's out. So you have your drains taken out, and they will take the compression binder off. They will take all of the dressings off, and they will clean it. They will clean your nipple area. There is also surgery tape that they will keep on, because that's obviously covering the stitches. But they will make sure that your nipples are looking healthy, making sure that they're looking all right. And there's like two little square patches that they keep on there. So they'll clean around them. They'll keep that little patch on because that's connected to the stitches on your nipples. And they will clean around it and make sure everything's okay. They will cover up the drain incisions with some dressings as well. And you're given an opportunity to have like a quick little sneak peek at your new chest. Now, again, for me, I had a mixture of emotions. It's like this grieving process, but it's also like this, oh my God, there I am. I can see myself in the mirror for the first time in 28 years. I can see myself in the mirror. So again, give yourself that time to process and digest how that feels. And don't go with an expectation that you've got to be all singing and really, really happy. Like, just feel into what you need to feel. From there, then they will put the compression binder back on. They won't put any dressings on, just the surgery tape and the nipple dressings will stay on. Your compression binder then will go back on, and the surgeon will walk through what medication you need to take until you come back to the hospital, which was on chest reveal day, which is 3 to 4 days after you've been discharged. It's day 4, or day 5, sorry, of you arriving. So it works out to be 2 days or 2 days after discharge. So they will go through your antibiotics. So you're given antibiotics to reduce any risk of infection. You're also given a high level of pain relief that you will also take alongside your antibiotic. You can't drink or smoke or anything on them. Make sure you keep your body super clean, inside and on the outside as well. And again, drinking lots and lots and lots of fluid. You're then taken to the pharmacy by Nida or by one of Nida's associates, who will then make sure that you get everything that you need in that bag. And it'll also come with some antibiotic cream, which you'll be told how to use that, and getting some dressings as well for when you have the nipple dressings taken off on chest reveal day. That is an extra cost as well. It doesn't come in your like surgery costs, so you have to pay for that. But medication and like antibiotics and stuff over in Turkey is so cheap. I think for like about 6 or 7 items, it cost me like 25 quid. So it's like super, super cheap as well. But that's something to like budget and look at, and like that's something to think about when you're like budgeting and all that sort of stuff. And then you go back, you're taken back to where you're staying, either a hotel or an Airbnb, and that's where you just need to rest. Like, you just need to have a really, really big rest. Give yourself permission to nap. Give yourself permission to eat what you need to eat. Give yourself permission to drink those fluids. Watching all the crap on the telly as you possibly can. Make sure that when you're going, you've got like a full series or multiple series is downloaded onto your laptop. Take that time to rest. Me and my partner were quite fortunate because where we stayed, like as you went out of the door to the Airbnb, like there was like a street with like restaurants, supermarkets, like coffee shops, like, and what we tended to do is like get up and go for a little walk, like literally 10-15 minute walk a day, come back, and then I would have another nap or just take that time. On chest reveal day, you've got to get yourself to the hospital. where you will be able to have a look at your new chest. They will take the binder off again. They will take off the nipple dressings, and they will put on the cream that you get. They will put that onto your nipples and put new dressings on, but you'll be able to see, your new chest, and however that might feel to you, but just breathe it in, take it all in. And then before you leave, you'll be given a discharge piece of paper that says that you are fit to fly home. That if anybody asks you at the airport, if anybody asks you, if you need evidence for work or whatever it is, they give you a note that it's got a stamp of Dr. Sirkin's practice on, so then you can take that and use that. But that's like, the process, the week of, I've spoken a lot there, but there is so much to incorporate. And I really wanted to share this with you, and like my kind of journey, or what is to be expected when you get there. Because you're naturally going to feel like anxious or worried because you don't know what to expect. And I was quite fortunate that I knew somebody that I'd spoke to Nida, that I'd like had those conversations with him. And it's just, I was quite fortunate in that sense. So I kind of knew what to expect, but still I was apprehensive. Still I was worried because I'm flying out of my own country and going into somebody else's, or going into another country, and you don't know what to expect. But I can't tell you how incredible the experience was. I was supported, I was looked after, I made sure everything was okay. During that time of being in Turkey, and even after, if I've had a bit of a worry or a bit of I'm not too sure what this is, I've been able to message Nida, and Nida's been able to give me some reassurance. Yeah, that's supposed to be like that. Because what you've also got to take into consideration as well is that when you are like, that process is quite short. But that's what it's about when I'm saying about moving your body, getting that fluid moving so it starts to drain out. Because I'm 2 months post-op, and I still have swelling like around like here a little bit, because there's still fluid there. Like, that's going to take a while to break down. And obviously like the scar tissue starts to build up, and those are normal things to happen. And it's about following that process of care that Nida talks about. And it's about following the process of keeping yourself, making sure that you're looking after your scars, making sure that you're looking after yourself once you get out of surgery. And then on the final, like once chest reveal, then obviously you can leave. Once you've been completely discharged, then you can leave Turkey. Getting on the airplane on the way back, was okay. I was a little bit uncomfortable. I just made sure like I'd taken my pain relief. And also I topped myself up on paracetamol. My partner worked for an extensive amount of time in the NHS. So we made sure like we triple checked, double checked, quadruple checked, like we could take paracetamol alongside the other medication that we were given, which is naproxen. So I kept myself topped up on pain relief, which helped massive, being in the airport, and obviously on the plane journey back, which was about 3.5 hours, 4 hours. What I also very much encourage you to do is get a V pillow. I'm going to be sharing, in some of the videos, you'll probably see my V pillow. It's like pink and grey. It was an absolute life changer through like after surgery and when I got home as well. I've only just recently started to not sleep with it, which was a game changer. And also when you're traveling in the car, I had a seatbelt strap that came across, which obviously protected my chest. Another thing that somebody asked me to mention as well is how expensive is it in Turkey? We budgeted for about £200 to £300 for food for a week, and we pretty much stuck to that budget, and we managed to eat out a few times. We managed to do like a full almost like Tesco shop almost whilst we were there, but that pretty much kind of landed us with where we were. But again, I was in a very privileged space that I didn't have to think too much about budgeting for my money when it came to food. But I know that some people, you need to stick. And I think if we were like super, super conscious about it, we probably could have budgeted even further on that. Like not eating out and just kind of lived off the food that we bought and put into the fridge and the cupboards. But it was about 300 English pounds that we spent on food. And then like taxis, we downloaded the Uber app, which was really good. And like the taxi drivers that we had were, it was so funny and were really compassionate, and love, like they were just really lovely. We had no problems whatsoever. And taxis over there again are like super cheap. For us to get from our apartment to Istanbul, which was about 20-25 minutes, it cost about £7. Like obviously like transverted, whatever the word is, back into English pounds. But I know that if some of you aren't doing the deals with NIDA and you're just looking at the surgery itself and going to sort out your own accommodation, then I know that transfers won't be included. So it's looking at maybe booking like private transfers from the airport to your accommodation. And again, I reckon like 20-25 quid from the airport to wherever you're staying. Finding somewhere like near the hospital is something that I would very much advise as well. So then you're not like kind of out of the way almost. But I think that's kind of like it. Like I'm pretty much coming up to 2 months post-op now, and I'm feeling good. Like I've kind of captured pictures of like my progress, like over the like since coming home. I've captured my progress, and it has been an interesting one to say that. But it's been such an emotional roller coaster. Like I prepared myself for the physical change, but not for the emotional change, because even though like I've taken something away from my body that caused me so much dysphoria in so many ways, there is also an element of now like accepting this new body and what this new body looks like and how it feels for me. Because for a while, like I was really off balance. Like I kept going like, whoa, 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 what's going on? But it's because like your body's adjusting, and also like your hormones adjust as well. Like if you are somebody that has like estrogen, predominantly like estrogen in your body, like, and you're taking something away that is being pumped with estrogen, like your hormones like are pretty like imbalanced as well. And like the after symptoms, like sweating a lot, like I get so warm very, very quickly and sweating. And like when I go into my cycles of bleed as well, like they've changed like over the last 2 months. So it's just about preparing yourself for other bits and pieces that you don't necessarily think are going to be impacted, but also your emotional well-being as well. Like take your time, be patient with yourself, give yourself compassion of the process that you're going through. I've taken a good couple of months off work, and again, I'm in a very privileged space to be able to do that with owning my own business. But again, it's about giving yourself time to heal. Don't go back to work. And I completely appreciate sometimes we do have to make those decisions to go back to work as soon as we can, because we have financial commitments and responsibilities. But if you can save money before you go, or be able to go on SSP if you're from the UK, try and do those things, so that you're giving yourself time to heal and recover, because those are the things. Like surgery is the easy part. It's the aftermath, really, I would be saying, is the biggest toll on your body. It's the biggest toll on your brain, and keeping yourself, in this cycle of resting and recovering as well. Once you get to like 2 months post-op, I've started to do some stretches of like having some deep scar tissue massages, because it really does help. Like I had quite a big chest, so my incisions go all the way back here. And that's another kind of factor around, like if you are getting dog ears from your binders or from taping, tell the surgeon that you want the dog ears gone and they will get rid of them. That's exactly what they've done with me, but it just means that your incisions go a bit further back. But yeah, it's just give yourself that time and that space. I'm going to be sharing some more videos of my journey so far, and I would love if you have any questions or anything that you want to share. Like, please reach out to me. Like, if there's another video that I can do, about my experiences of family and for friends and for partners, like, please, like, reach out to me and let me know. But I hope this video has been super helpful and useful to you. And if you haven't already, please go and watch my other videos of the process that I had going through top surgery. But I will catch you all later.